The feature that I chose to highlight in this presentation is the language and formatting like Twitter. What this shows about the protagonist and how it influences her life, how it relates to the readers, and how it relates to modern day events. The first half of the novel is extremely confusing and very difficult to understand, especially if you're not familiar with social media. However, if you're not familiar with social media, then this novel will give you the exact experience of what it's like scrolling through your Twitter feed. The book is composed of very short paragraphs that give very little information, but just enough to get you intrigued with what Lockwood is referencing. As you scroll through social media, you get glimpses of catchy headlines, gossip, memes, and random updates from celebrities. Reading this book gave the same sensation of online, getting a quick bit of information or a giggle, and then quickly moving on to the next and more interesting thing. Just like social media, it is also easy to gloss over a paragraph that references something that you don't understand, and then move on to the next. You don't need to fully understand what you're reading because a single paragraph is not important to understanding the novel. This Twitter-like layout can either give readers an immersive experience, becoming almost addicted to seeing what the next paragraph will reference, or cause a disconnect, especially in readers who don't understand the references or are unfamiliar with reading a Twitter feed. Like I just mentioned, the novel is written in short paragraphs, with most actually being able to fit into Twitter's 140-character limit that it had in 2017, and it would certainly fit into Twitter's now 208-character limit. Twitter's increase had a lot of backlash when they announced it, because people believed it would result in a less readable Twitter feed. People want to get the information, read the story or the joke, look at the meme for maybe 20 seconds, and then they want to move on to the next. I even found when I read the book that I would get very interested in a reference that Lockwood would make that I'd never seen, and in a couple seconds it was finished. I didn't want to move on to the next paragraph because it felt like I didn't get a sufficient amount of information. However, after a couple more paragraphs, I forgot what it even was that I was intrigued by. These short paragraphs make the overload of information more digestible, but like Twitter, none of the information actually sticks with you. On page 63, Lockwood says, "Why are we all writing like this now? Because a new kind of connection has to be made. A blink, a synapsis, a little space between was the only way to make it. Or because this was more frightening. It was the way the portal wrote. The way people talk, write, and interact are being completely changed by the portal and the way people are writing there. The novel is demonstrating how people are so interconnected with social media that it makes sense that our way of interacting would be influenced by how people interact in the portal." To carry on this idea of Twitter and the portal influencing our interactions in the real world, Lockwood uses different words, punctuation, and slang that is often left out of novels. She uses slang like the trend binge, as well as different punctuation like multiple question marks after a sentence to emphasize it, or capitalizing whole words or even sentences. The interactions with her husband before the baby is born are almost exclusively about the portal, or things that they have learned from the portal. It's as if their regular daily conversation is reliant upon their social media consumption that day. Everything in their lives is completely consumed by the portal. The way they talk, and even the way what they're talking about. In an interview, Lockwood agreed that the portal has influenced people so greatly that we've begun to interact with each other in person in a way that we would online. Every day, people use references and slang from the internet in their everyday conversations, like seen with the protagonist's husband. Conversations that are usually centered on things that people have seen on the portal or things that they have experienced in the portal. Another very interesting thing about Lockwood's choice to have the portal as the center of this novel is that the portal is so vast and broad that it opened up a plethora of topics for her to engage with. The internet is a never-ending sea of information, topics, and very specific niches. This allowed Lockwood to explore different areas of the internet and share how it has impacted us. For example, she references the dictator multiple times in the novel, making reference to Donald Trump and his presidency. Lockwood said in an interview that she believed that Trump never would have made it into office if he did not have Twitter. We can see this assumption as early as in page 4. Politics. The trouble was that they had a dictator now, which, according to some people, white, they had never had before. And according to other people, everyone else, they had only ever been having constantly since the beginning of the world. The problem was that the dictator was very funny, which had maybe always been true of all dictators. Absurdism, she thought. She references him multiple times throughout the book after this initial introduction. She also briefly discusses pronouns in discovering which she thought suited her best. 9/11 as well, and Nazis. Lockwood uses this format of social media in the portal to openly discuss politics, both how they are represented on the internet and their impacts on people in real life, and how we use that information as well. Like on page 24, she said, previously, these communities were imposed on us, along with their mental weather. Now, we chose them, or believed that we did. The information we find on the portal, or in your Twitter feed, are paid to be there to influence us, or chosen to be on our feed by an algorithm. People believe that they are choosing how they think and what they believe, but in actuality, the information is still being shoved down our throats, but they do it in a way where people believe that is our own free will to believe it. While she references politics a lot in this book, she also briefly explores other random topics, like stream of consciousness, guacamole, coffee, dildos, the list goes on. While there are only short paragraphs on the topics, it's very interesting how many different ideas and things that Lockwood was able to explore given this choice of format. When talking about the portal and using the format that Lockwood chooses, it raises further questions about social media and how its use affects us as consumers. Lockwood uses this novel to show how interconnected we are with the internet. Like I mentioned before, the style of writing demonstrates how addictive reading these short headlines or memes are. Where are the boundaries between real life and online? How much of yourself can you hide and or show online? In the beginning of this novel, on the first page, she says, "Why did the portal feel so private, when you only entered it when you needed to be everywhere?" It opens up the question of anonymity online, as well as how connected we are to the internet. People can frame themselves online and share as little or as much as themselves as they would like to hide in certain areas of their life, and only show a certain side or aspect of themselves. Online profiles are not the full picture of a person, only their best moments. This quote also raises the idea of Twitter and social media, giving us a feeling of connection, shared ideas, and like-minded people. People feel very connected to other people, even to celebrities or influences, without actually knowing them as a person, only connecting with the persona that has been carefully articulated online. Later in the novel, Lockwood also writes, "What did we have to expect from this life? What had the politician promised us? The realtor walking us through a beautiful house? Could we sue? We would sue. Could we blow it all open? We would blow it all open. Could we post about it? Is life even happening if you don't post it online for other people to see and interact with?" Once her niece is born, she is slowly losing her connection with the portal and realizing the importance of living in the real world and experiencing life and its beauty, even if it means going through tragedy. She's realizing that not everything needs to be shared online for it to have meaning. She never fully gives up the portal, but her time away from the portal has changed the way she perceives what she sees online. However, the portal is still a way for her to escape her life. 185 reads, "She leaned over the child and said something. She said, 'It is going to be just like your mother.' The moment was so pristine and so meaningful that something must be done to alleviate it." She is so used to the emotional disconnect in the portal, she doesn't know how to actually process emotions fully or be content in experiencing a beautiful moment. She needs a separation from her grief through the internet, this moment in her real life doesn't have to exist. There's a contrast of which side of her is more influential, real experience or the internet. Are we the same people online as we are in real life? This novel would say that there's always been a strong connection between our profile online and ourselves. It is impossible for us to not be connected with our profiles made online, that there are aspects, belief, ways of writing, and thoughts that will be direct reflections of ourselves online. We are able to hide certain parts of ourselves from the portal, but it is impossible to be completely separate online. That was my presentation. I hope you enjoyed it. My discussion questions are: Lockwood emphasizes how connected everyone is to the internet and their internet persona. How much does social media and what we consume online affect us in our daily lives? Is it possible to be anonymous or to completely separate yourself from your online persona? And the second is, the choice to format the first half and part of the second half like a Twitter feed allowed Lockwood to discuss a variety of topics, including politics. Do you agree with Lockwood's belief that Twitter and social media has affected politics, or that social media has forced us, its consumers, into certain beliefs?